Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm Jarna Hector. Thanks for joining us. Topping the headlines, efforts by government to make agricultural export easier, geothermal plants predicted to be ready by 2014, and a $4 million Roseau River Promenade project to commence soon. All these stories and more when National Focus returns. Welcome back. Time now for the details of the news. Government in the first quarter of the 2012-2013 financial year is expecting to move ahead with the construction of a $4 million Roseau River Promenade project. This project forms an integral part of government's redevelopment plan for the city of Roseau. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, told Parliament during his budget presentation last week that the project will seek to create a better and more effective area for vendors along the Roseau River bank.
The financial year will see the construction of the Roseau River Promenade, which will include river walls and a cantilevered boardwalk. The main goal of this project is to redevelop the area along the southwest end of the Roseau River bank and to make it more aesthetically pleasing and with a safe environment for tourism, recreational and commercial activities. The promenade will create a better and more effective area for persons who are involved in the vending of products and services.
Funded by ALBA, the project is intended to focus on the development of facilities to be constructed along the banks of the Roseau River. The facilities will include food and beverage vending booths, landscaping and trees, a cantilevered boardwalk and a retaining wall. An upscale restaurant and mini mall will also form part of the boardwalk feature. Government's plan for the redevelopment and renewal of the city of Roseau also involves proper waste management, enhancing the historic district, making the city safer, and the installation of facilities within the city of Roseau. In more news, residents of the Grand Bay constituency can rest assured that they will continue to be well looked after thanks to the new national budget. Honorable Justina Charles is MP for that constituency, and she disclosed to GIS News that through the Caribbean Development Bank, funding for the rehabilitation of the Highland Road has been secured. The minister went on to list other ways in which her constituents will continue to benefit from the new budget.
We always get some money allocated to the constituency so that we can address some of the concerns of our constituents in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of housing, and we know there is that continuation of the assistance to the students. We will see the housing, we will see the social programs in which the Prime Minister Office assists persons. We basically, all the areas in which assistance has been given, we are going to see continuation of that. And I know definitely my persons from the Crown Bay constituencies have benefited, and we will continue to see more persons benefiting from all those programs.
Honorable Charles expressed her confidence in the government's planning and in the prudence of the Prime Minister.
Even sometimes when I do not see certain things in the budget, I am not dismayed, because I know the Honorable Prime Minister is, and the Minister of Finance is this kind of person who is sensitive to the plight of all of us as parliamentarians, and if the need arises where we want something done urgently, he usually makes an effort to source the funds so that he can address the needs as the time arises. And that is why sometimes there is always some emergency fund that you have to probably look at so that you can act in terms of emergency, and we may have to reprioritize because we know sometimes you plan things and it does not happen. And even within our own families, you know, you have things planned and it cannot come through. And so it's the same thing with the budget.
The parliamentary representative gave the reassurance that her constituents will be well provided for.
I think all in all, my constituents will continue to enjoy the fruits of this budget, and I will continue to work feverishly to ensure that what is in the budget for us is we receive it, and everything else that's not there as the need arises that I can help to address some of those needs.
In other news, government is putting the necessary mechanisms in place to ensure that more agricultural produce can be transported by sea to neighboring countries. Prime Minister Skerrit announced that government will make $500,000 available to members of the private sector wishing to upgrade their cargo vessels or procure new ones. The Prime Minister made the announcement during the presentation of the 2012-2013 national budget last Tuesday. Honorable Skerrit indicated that a recent study conducted by Windward Island countries concluded that small cargo vessels offer niche services for the huckster trade within the region. He noted that this prompted his government to take such a proactive decision.
The view was expressed that these services are particularly suited to small consignments and are provided at reasonable cost. The services were, however, frequently criticized on the grounds of reliability, regularity, scheduling, cargo handling, and public awareness of the services offered. Faced with this reality, Cabinet has approved an initial amount of $500,000 to be made available to the private sector to upgrade their vessels and in exceptional circumstances to procure a new vessel. Government will consider replenishment if the full amount allocated is taken up before the end of the fiscal year.
The Prime Minister disclosed that resources from the Economic Citizenship Program have been earmarked for this activity. And Parliamentary Representative for the Roseau Valley constituency, Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre, is very optimistic that the geothermal project will impact significantly on the lives of nationals. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit told Parliament last week that a 10 to 15 megawatt geothermal plant could be operational here by 2014. The government has spent significant amounts of financial resources in the drilling of 3 test wells in the Roseau Valley area. The sites have proven that Dominica has the potential to generate electricity through this resource.
We know for sure that the cost of electricity is prohibitive. The last time I checked, I've never seen no sort of oil seeping from the earth in Dominica, not yet at least. And I've seen a lot of this, the heat coming from the earth in the Roseau Valley and other areas. But what I'm sure about, if we were to, when we make that breakthrough and we have begun, the investors, we can attract much more in terms of our investors, because the cost of investing, everyone who comes to invest in Dominica, they ask one question: what is the cost of electricity? What's your energy cost? No, it's no fault of ours. The cost is high because we depend on fossil fuel energy. And of course, because the fuel surcharge during the dry season goes up. I'd like to see more in hydro, but I mean, it's kept at that rate for the time being. It's really creating problems for us. This is why this initiative, it's a first-class initiative, and I think it's an initiative, once completed, in terms of turning it into reality, I think we'll be in proper hands in terms of investment in Dominica.
Meanwhile, work is ongoing on the rehabilitation of the Mont Prosper Road. Roseau Valley MP Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre spoke of the ongoing project when he addressed Parliament last week.
The UWP government never saw it fit, even for the one period of 400+ years they were in power, to build a road for the people. And they had money. Exactly. In spite of the fact that one of the largest, this is critical, this is data, this is very critical. In spite of the fact that one of the most tragic and the largest number of folks who perished ever in Dominica in an accident was right in Mont Prosper. I was part of it in terms of the rescue program, but they never saw it fit to at least help with the road a bit. When we got into power, before we got into power, before I got into power, I built the Rapmoabeson Road, the overbridge road, I did half of it. I realized family is important. The Zolivier Road came through this government's period as well too. The Mont Prosper Road, in spite of the small stint, they never saw it fit to help the people. But they would instigate some of the few, very few, to talk negative about it. But it's so difficult to speak negative of something like that. When you drive to Mont Prosper right now, you wonder, well, how could the government put almost a 3-lane highway to Mont Prosper? I'm not talking about 2, you know. I'm talking almost a 3-lane highway to Mont Prosper in the first phase. But we have kept our promise. In spite of that, we will still help our people in Mont Prosper.
Minister responsible for Water Resource Management, Honorable Reginald Austrie, says government remains committed to ensuring that potable water is provided for all communities. Minister Austrie gave the commitment while he addressed Parliament last week. During the last 10 years, government has spent approximately $146 million on water system upgrades and the provision of potable water to communities island-wide.
This year, we spent over $1947 million that was spent in bringing water to the people of Dominica. and we will not stop here, because we're racing with the United Nations to ensure that we meet the Millennium Goals before 2015. Because they say by 2015, they want the whole world to have water, but the whole of Dominica will have water by 2013, 2014. And that is our aim, and that is where we're heading. And yes, people from Bells will be reviewing the situation in Bells to see how quickly we can bring this water. And negotiations are taking place, Honorable Walter, for the $3.6 million that you need for Benz. We'll find the money somewhere, we'll find it. We have signed the contract and we have an obligation to find in the money to ensure that that Benz project will start as quickly as possible. Oh, the money has been found, thank you. The Minister of Finance have informed that the money has in fact been found.
In other news, Attorney General Honorable Levi Peter has called for more responsible reporting from the local media. He told Parliament last week that more inquiries should be done before stories are published.
I think that it is appropriate to use this august House to just put out to our people, to our population, and particularly to those in positions of responsibility, which I consider the media to be part of, that they need to be a little bit more careful, or perhaps quite a lot more careful, about what it is they put out to the public. Particularly when what they're putting out is easily verifiable. It is not difficult to make a phone call or even to drop by and ask a question. If at least that had been done and then you had got no response, then you could at least say, that's the information we have, we gave an opportunity to comment. The individual said, no comment.
Persons involved in the music and film industry will have the opportunity through a workshop this weekend to acquire and improve their knowledge for managing their intellectual property. This forum targets persons involved in live performances, documentaries, commercials, music videos, jingle production, songwriting, and commercials. The National Export Council Secretariat Dexia and the Dominica Coalition of Service Industries, in collaboration with the Cultural Division, Discover Dominica Authority, and the Dominica Festivals Committee, is responsible for organizing what is called an intellectual property and management workshop in the music and film industries. The workshop will cover copyright laws, contracts, rights and trademarks, among many other important facets of intellectual property management. The speakers will be attorneys Kyan Anderson from Jamaica and Alison Demas from Trinidad and Tobago. Also speaking will be Dominican McCarthy Murray, who is a recognized expert in intellectual property. Interested persons are asked to contact the National Export Council Secretariat or the Dominica Coalition of Services Industry. In more news, plans for a bypass in the west coast village of Maho have been long discussed, dating back to the 1970s. Historian Dr. Lennox Honeychurch confirmed this during a lecture in the community on Monday night. Dr. Honeychurch told community residents that the existing Maho main road has been a hindrance to the expansion of that village for several years.
There was a difficulty to expand because you had the problem of the landowners at the back. There was a surveyor in Dominica called Mr. Winsky, Mr. Carroll Winsky, and in the 1960s he did bypasses, he planned, he surveyed bypasses all in Newtown, Massac, Maho, and he told the government of the time, even if you cannot afford to build the bypass now, keep that land unoccupied so that when you can build a bypass, you will. Well, a lot of people paid no attention. Houses went over the route of the bypass. Certain people up in the heights didn't want the main road to pass by them, and all kinds of typical Dominica confusion happened. And so we are left with the problems that everybody's been talking about of how to get around Maho.
Dr. Lennox Honeychurch says recent improvements to the Maho Road under the West Coast Road Development Project, now called the Edward Oliver Libla Highway, has made traveling through the village of Maho much easier.
But with the improvement of the road and keep clear areas and that kind of thing, on a normal day generally, give or take a hitch here and there, you are able to get through.
Monday night's lecture on the village of Maho highlighted several developments of the community over the past several years. The lecture formed part of activities marking the 2012 Maho reunion. The official opening of the Maho reunion was held on Sunday under the theme Reconnect, Remember, Renew, and Rebuild. Upcoming activities for the reunion include a public forum on bridging the gap between youth and senior citizens on Tuesday, July 24, and a health fair on August 1st. And that's the English segment of the news. We now join Marcus in St. Louis for the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi, c'est Marcus in St. Louis. Premièrement, Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, c'est chef de délégation Dominique qui a visité Kingdom Morocco à une visite officielle. Sinon, on communiqué qui sorti. Raison pour visite là, c'est pour une discussion avancée relation entre ces deux pays-là. Premier ministre Skerrit qui tient une discussion et puis King Mohammed, Premier ministre Abdelila Ben Kirani et puis ministre de l'autre pays Saïd Eddin El Othmani. Dominique établit relations diplomatiques et puis Morocco en l'année 2010 et puis depuis temps cela, relations ça l'a avancé. Dominique déjà supporté Morocco en plusieurs bagailles internationales et puis aussi ni étudié en pays cela. Morocco a aussi assisté Dominique et puis bagailles agriculture qu'a concerné Angué. Morocco a aussi financé un hôtel 58 chambres en ville Guantans. Secrétaire cabinet M. Steve Ferrol, c'est l'autre membre de délégation là. Ministère Information Honorable Ambrose George, qui a une position comme premier ministre. En d'autres nouvelles, ministre de l'Éducation a dépensé l'argent pour Education Advancement Project. Selon le ministre de l'Éducation Honorable Peter Saint-Jean, 11 millions de dollars qui sont sortis en budget pour sa faire éducation.
Education Enhancement Project, ça c'est un projet où nous avons dépensé 11 millions de dollars l'argent nous. Et nous avons servi ça pour adresser problèmes en éducation généralement. Nous avons gardé curriculum, ça c'est vraiment ça, nous avons délivré les enfants à l'école, nous avons adressé ça, nous avons créé teacher development, ça c'est là nous avons traîné les teachers pour délivrer meilleur. Et aussi, nous avons gardé là, nous avons éduqué les enfants en langage et aussi en mathématiques. Et un component ça aussi, nous avons gardé là, nous avons développé 7 grandes écoles en Dominique. Nous avons fait travail en ces écoles. Eux aussi, nous avons poursuivi équipement pour délivrer ça. Nous avons créé Technical Vocational Skill Education pour les enfants en Dominique.
Le gouvernement Dominique vit un état bien important qui concerne l'exploration géothermique en Rose Valley. Dominique tape assistance de l'Agence française de développement et puis European Union pour conduire le projet là en Wharton River et puis en Loda. Quand même, il faut cela, Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit fait parole que le gouvernement a gardé en possibilité de bâtir un gros usine 15 MW en Rose Valley qui est servi pour un storage energy naturel. Et de tout ça, c'est pour le gouvernement développer environ pièces carbone par l'année 2020. Honorable Skerrit dit affaires où la Dominique a servi 70% bagaille diesel pour électricité. Les géothermiques qui viennent en réalité, les installations qui pour tuer énergie renouvelable bien net pour la Dominique, juste vendre Guadeloupe et puis Martinique. Gouvernement a une discussion et puis compagnie qui n'est bon record pour opération géothermique là. Pour le ministre Skerrit fait parole, si toute bagaille marche bien, l'opération peut commencer par l'année 2014. Le gouvernement a aussi fait parole qui projet cela que fait Dominique dépendre moins à ce diesel et puis que aussi sauver l'argent. Finalement, le gouvernement Dominique a implémenté un pilot project en Saint-Joseph, assisté le monde qui dépend à ce welfare. Le Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit fait un annoncement là en parlement semaine passée. Même parlement pour Saint-Joseph, Honorable Kelva Darrow, qui a bien supporté l'initiative cela.
Le programme Salaire en Hot Constituency Saint-Jo, Place Saint-Jo, c'est un programme qui rend des jeunes gens et puis femmes qui ont des enfants. Et nous allons faire un travail pour faire. Et le gouvernement qui a un stipend pour rendre. Et ça, c'est un bon projet que le gouvernement a implémenté. Puis Saint-Jo est un plus jeune monde. Saint-Jean est plus femme qui les enfants. Et bien, ils parlent papa pour vendre yo. Et bien, ça c'est un bon programme pour really empower ces gens là. Et bien, happy. Gouvernement fait ça pour Saint-Jean.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non, moi, c'est Macpherson Saint-Louis. Au revoir.
When we come back, we'll bring you the upcoming events and government notices. Please stay tuned.
You're watching GIS.
All those concerned are asked to note the following hurricane shelters and shelter managers for the communities of Dalis, Dubla, and Bioche. Dalis, your hurricane shelters are the Dalis Youth Center, Shelter Manager Jerome Williams, Assistant Shelter Manager Joseph Saintville. The Dalis Primary School, the shelter manager there is Alan George, and his assistant is Yvonne Geist. And the Dalis Pentecostal Church, where the shelter manager is Hendrix Williams, and the assistant manager is Samuel Hillier. Dubla Hurricane Shelter is the Dubla Government School. Valentine Victor is the shelter manager, and Curtis Francois the assistant. Bioche, your two hurricane shelters are the Bioche Nazarene Church. The shelter manager is Pascal Hilton. His assistant is Kimran Francois. And the Bioche Fisheries Complex, where the shelter manager is Elvis Sabroch, and the assistant shelter manager is Henry M. Sango. The Ministry of Education wishes to inform the general public of its collection and distribution of textbooks for the year 2012-2013 as follows. For students attending the 1st to 4th forms of the St. Martin's Secondary School and the St. Mary's Academy, you are asked to collect your textbooks on Wednesday, July 25th from the GSP building located in Bath Estate from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And for students attending the 1st and 2nd forms of the Dominica Grammar School and the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School, you are asked to collect your textbooks on Thursday, July 26th from the GSP building located in Bath Estate from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Please be guided accordingly. The Lubia Village Council, in collaboration with the District Police, invites all villagers, including Castle Comfort, Wallhouse, and Leopoldville residents, to a talk on the role of the police in disaster management. This is planned for Thursday, July 26 at the Lubia Resource Center from 7 p.m. The council urges all to attend and to be on time. The Division of Agriculture will also be conducting a series of sensitization meetings to educate farmers, exporters, traders, and the public on the black sigatoka disease on Wednesday, July 25th in the following communities. St. Joseph, Layu, and Taru at the St. Joseph Community Center at 4 p.m., Salisbury at the Salisbury Government School at 4:30 p.m., Monjon at the Monjon Community Hall at 6 p.m., and Portsmouth, Dodan, and Bourne at the Portsmouth Agricultural Station Conference Room at 3:30 p.m. Please make a special effort to attend and to be on time. Persons involved in the music industry are informed that the National Export Council Secretariat, DEXIA, and the Dominica Coalition of Service Industries, in collaboration with the Cultural Division, Discover Dominica Authority, and the Dominica Festivals Committee, is hosting a 2-day training workshop in intellectual property and management in the music and film industries from July 27 to 28 from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Galway Hotel Conference Room. Interested persons can call telephone numbers 448-6693 extension 154 or 266-4092 or 448-4833. Persons are encouraged to register early as space is limited. Up next, the tip of the day. What can you do to manage your plate? Learn to read food labels. Pay attention to the number of servings contained in the package, then note the calorie and fat content per serving. If the label on a large muffin, for example, says 2 servings, 250 calories and 10 grams of fat per serving, you will have consumed 500 calories and 20 grams of fat if you eat that entire muffin. And that's National Focus. As usual, we invite your suggestions and comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. Or you could visit our GIS Dominica page on YouTube and Facebook. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Jarna Hector. Thanks for watching.
There's a point I want to share with you. They say there's nothing you can do about an earthquake. It's sudden. But there's something we can do. Having our family planning meeting in advance, just in case, to protect the children and the family.
Hey, nous pas parler condom, coil, et tablet. So any monkey may kui, but when you're running, you must know where you're running to. Okay?
See me on Twamberdiche, an earthquake. You, your family, and your children, and everybody at home must know exactly what to do, where to go, where to run. And the other thing is that you must know your surroundings. Because in your pieboala, you can trip and fall and get hurt. Another secret place to go is under a table. Don't go under a glass table or a window or a door. It will break and shikaye and cut you. Go under a strong table. You want to see how? You come in, or you get it. But it's not just to drop, cover, and hold. And then you have your head in your leg and you cover your head and you cover your eyes and Felix, tell them.
And yes, drop, cover, and hold. But only pour savoir comment kailabati know your surroundings, where it is safe in the house.
And one thing to remember, if an earthquake happens, you must find a secure place. And your bathroom is a secure place, a sure place. Because the smaller the place, the more secure you are. So remember that.
And under a potager, the dresser is a very good place to hide.
I agree.
The closet, where you have all those old jackets and those kiang, all the shoes, is a very good place, is a safe place. The closet.
That's a good idea.
And the bookshelf, n'importe place comme ça qui s'est tombé à saut. Stay away.
A message from the Office of Disaster Management in Dominica.
Hey, I'm calling out to all Dominicans to embrace our culture. Not just once or twice a year, but all year round. We have a rich and unique culture that no one can equal to. Our bouillon music, our vibrant dances, our Creole language, and exquisite cuisine. It's all ours. Taste it, speak it, hear it, touch it, feel it, share it, live it. I am Sheldon Alfred, the Junior Calypso Monarch 2011, and I am Dominica. Are you?